All right, so we're diving into Week 12. And we've got a matchup that on the surface might seem like a foregone conclusion. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Carolina Panthers. But we're going to dig a little deeper, understand what makes these teams tick, who to watch out for, and what the experts are predicting. We've pulled together a bunch of different analyses from various sports sites. To give you that full picture, the 360. Here's the thing, though. The Chiefs, they're sitting pretty at 9-1. But they haven't exactly been the powerhouse a lot of people expected. A handful of those wins have been real nail-biters. And they haven't covered the spread in their last 4 games. So what's the story there? Is there a chance the Panthers could actually pull off an upset? Let's break down each team's strengths first.
Well, when you look at the Chiefs, the thing that really pops out is how they utilize that pre-snap motion. Keeps defenses on their toes, guessing what's coming next. And you know those bunch formations they love to run? Creates mismatches all over the field. And with a quarterback like Mahomes, that's a recipe for big plays.
It's like they're playing chess out there. And the defense is always one step behind.
Exactly. And even with some key players sidelined, their offense is still putting up points. And their defense, it's no joke, ranked among the best in the league, especially against the pass. You've got guys like George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Tershawn Wharton. They can really disrupt an offense.
Yeah, you can't discount the experience factor either. 2-time Super Bowl champs. They definitely know how to perform under pressure. But let's shift gears and talk about the Panthers. Now, a 3-7 record doesn't exactly scream contender, but they are riding a 2-game winning streak coming into this matchup. So do they have what it takes to give the Chiefs a run for their money?
Well, it's interesting because even though their overall record isn't great, they have found a real strength in their running game. Chuba Hubbard is having a breakout year.
And what if Ricky Jonathan Brooks can come back from his injury? That could really complicate things for the Chiefs defense.
Absolutely. Their offensive line ranks 9th in the league, which looks good on paper. But their adjusted sack rate against top 5 pass rushes is a little worrying. If they can't give Bryce Young enough time in the pocket against that Chiefs pass rush, it could be a long day for Carolina.
All right, so we've seen some potential strengths for the Panthers. But can they actually exploit any weaknesses in the Chiefs game? And what about key players and injuries for both teams?
Well, let's start with the quarterbacks. Mahomes even coming off a bit of a rough game against the Bills with those 2 interceptions. He's still the guy defenses fear the most. But it's worth noting that the Chiefs' yards after contact on running plays have been surprisingly low. If the Panthers can take advantage of that, maybe force the Chiefs into more passing situations, it could work in their favor.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. For the Panthers, all eyes are on Bryce Young. He's had his ups and downs as a rookie, benched earlier in the season, but he has shown some improvement since then. Is he consistent enough to handle the pressure of a game like this?
That's the big question, isn't it? He's going up against a defense that's designed to make young quarterbacks make mistakes. And don't forget, the Chiefs are coming off a loss. They're going to be hungry.
Speaking of hungry, let's talk about the running backs. For the Chiefs, you've got Kareem Hunt really shouldering the load. But Isaiah Pacheco is expected back from injury. Now, that's a 1-2 punch that could wear down that Panthers defense.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? But again, going back to those yards after contact, it's not as straightforward as it might seem. For the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard is definitely the one to watch. If he can have a huge game, maybe even break 150 yards, it could keep them in the fight. And if Brooks can play, they've got another weapon in their arsenal.
Okay, so we've covered the quarterbacks and the running backs. Are there any other players or injuries that could really swing this matchup?
Well, you can't talk Chiefs without talking Travis Kelce. He's still Mahomes' go-to guy, always a threat. And on the defensive side for Kansas City, you got to watch that pass rush. Karlaftis, Jones, Wharton, they can make life miserable for quarterbacks.
And for the Panthers, Xavier Legette has kind of emerged as their main receiving threat. But they've really struggled to find any consistency in the passing game. Defensively, they have some talent there. But can guys like A'Shawn Robinson and Charles Harris and Xavier Woods step up and make some big plays? Against a Chiefs offense that can light up the scoreboard, that feels like a big unknown.
Yeah, it does. And let's not forget about those injury reports. Chiefs will be without kicker Harrison Butker. That's a big loss. Pacheco's return is huge, though. But they do have a few other guys listed as questionable.
Yeah, the Panthers are in a similar situation. Miles Sanders is out at running back. And they've got a bunch of questionable designations, too, including Adam Thielen and Ikem Ekwonu, some pretty important pieces, especially on offense. Their availability could really make a difference. Speaking of making a difference, let's talk predictions, betting odds, and that spread.
Yeah, as you'd expect, the Chiefs are heavy favorites. Spreads around 10.5 to 11 points. And the money line heavily favors the Chiefs, too. not really a surprise considering their record and the talent on that roster.
Yeah, so the experts are mostly picking the Chiefs to win. But some are saying the Panthers might keep it closer than that spread suggests. And the over-under is sitting around 42.5 to 43.5 points, hints at a potentially high-scoring game. But here's where it gets interesting. The Chiefs have actually had trouble covering the spread lately, even though they've been winning.
Right. They haven't been blowing teams out the way people thought they would. On the other hand, the Panthers have covered the spread in their last 2 wins, even as underdogs.
So for those of us who like to place a little friendly wager, what's the smart move here? Because that spread is tempting.
Well, just looking at the numbers, taking the Chiefs and laying the points seems like the safer bet, but like always, there are other things to think about.
There's always a but in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
While the Chiefs should win this game, their recent track record of not covering big spreads is definitely something to consider. The Panthers have shown they can compete, and that home field advantage could give them an edge.
So are you saying this might be a game to avoid for those who don't like to take big risks?
Unless you're feeling lucky or have a strong gut feeling, yeah, this might be one to just sit back and enjoy. But for those who love a little gamble,
Gives the good stuff.
well, if you're leaning towards the Panthers, the idea of them covering that spread isn't totally crazy. They have some things going for them. Home field momentum from those recent wins. And who knows, maybe the Chiefs will come out flat after that tough loss to the Bills.
I can see the headlines now. Panthers stunned Chiefs in Week 12, upset.
Stranger things have happened in the NFL. That's what keeps us coming back for more.
So you're not ruling it out?
Never rule anything out in this league. That's part of the fun. But let's think about it from the listener's perspective. Why should they care about this game? What makes it more than just another Sunday matchup?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think what makes this game so interesting is the potential for a narrative shift. We've been talking about the Chiefs like they're unbeatable, but their recent performances have shown some cracks. This game, win or lose, could be a turning point for them. Do they bounce back and prove they're still the team to beat? Or do those cracks get bigger?
And for the Panthers, it's a chance to show they're not just another team on the schedule. They've got a young quarterback trying to find his way, a surprisingly strong running game, and a home crowd that's going to be fired up. Can they pull off a David versus Goliath upset? Even if they fall short, can they make a statement? Show that they're a team on the rise.
Yeah, it's all about the impact, right? One game can completely change the direction of a season. And for the listener, this game is a chance to see that potential shift happen right in front of them. Whether it's a blowout or a nail-biter, there's something exciting about seeing a team like the Panthers challenge the NFL's elite.
Absolutely. And you've given them the knowledge to appreciate those details, to look beyond the headlines and understand the deeper story playing out on the field.
So as we head into Week 12, the question remains, can the Panthers pull off a shocker on their home turf? Or will the Chiefs silence the doubters and deliver a statement win? The answer is just days away.
Enjoy the game. And remember, sometimes the most interesting stories aren't about the final score, but about the moments that lead up to it.
That's it for our deep dive into Chiefs versus Panthers. We'll be back next week with another matchup, more insights, another journey into the heart of the NFL. Until then, happy watching.
Yeah, it really is fascinating to think about. You've got the Chiefs. They look like the better team on paper, but they are coming off a loss and haven't really been playing up to their usual standards, and then there's the Panthers, a team that's found a spark despite a rough start.
It's that classic underdog story, right? Everyone expects the Chiefs to just walk in and take care of business, but the Panthers have this sort of quiet confidence about them playing at home. They've got that momentum, and who knows, maybe they've got some tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes this game so interesting. We've given you the information, the strengths and weaknesses, the X factors, about the key players, those injuries that could play a role, and you've even gotten a peek into the world of betting.
Now we just get to watch it all unfold. Will the Chiefs use that Week 11 loss as motivation and come out firing? Or will the Panthers capitalize on any doubts and sneak away with a win?
We can analyze and predict all day long, but that's the beauty of the NFL, right? Anything can happen on any given Sunday. Sometimes the most exciting games are the ones that completely defy expectations.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, we've got this high-powered Chiefs offense going up against a surprisingly tough Panthers defense. We've got a young, up-and-coming quarterback in Bryce Young trying to prove himself against a veteran like Mahomes. And we've got a lot of uncertainty with those key injuries. It's going to be a must-watch game.
It really is. So as you get ready for Week 12, ask yourself this. Can the Panthers pull off a big upset at home, or will the Chiefs silence the doubters and just dominate?
We'll find out soon enough. Enjoy the game, and remember, sometimes the most memorable moments in football aren't about who wins or loses, but about those unexpected plays, those shifts in momentum, those moments that leave you on the edge of your seat.
Well said.
That's all for this deep dive into Chiefs versus Panthers. We'll be back next week with another matchup, more insights, another journey into the heart of the NFL. Until then, happy watching.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting this channel by hitting the subscribe and like buttons. This will help the channel grow and expand on the journey we have begun together here at AI Meets You.